Welcome to Sandbox FOMO5 from Buro Happold. Each week we pick short snippets from our most recent episode for your listening pleasure. These quick listens could be valuable insights, thought-provoking elements, or even practical advice that will no doubt enrich your life and knowledge. Sandbox brings together curious individuals interested in a specific topic to discuss, dissect, and interrogate it. The style is conversational, with experts from Buro Happold and invited external guests who will add another angle to the narrative. Listeners are encouraged to gather around our podcast so that we can explore the latest advances in various fields and expand our collective horizons. Sometimes we'll tackle a subject head-on, sometimes a sideways view, but always with curiosity, expertise, and who knows, maybe even a dash of humour.
What exactly is structural forensics? Julian, I'll go to you first. What is structural forensics?
Before we go to structural forensics, I'll define a structural engineer. So,
please do, yes.
Put simply, a structural engineer is responsible to ensure a building is designed to be safe, strong, and stable. So, using a knowledge of loadings, materials, and an understanding of the forces and stresses within structural elements, we as structural engineers calculate the size of structural parts and how everything should fit together so the structure can handle everyday use and unexpected events, so the structure can stand securely for many years. There are many different strands to structural engineering, and sort of conventionally, for a medium to large multi-story building, say new build or refurbishment, what structural engineering would normally do is go through a project life cycle. So that's going through ever-evolving design stages from concept, scheme, detailed design through to construction. We, produce drawings and calculations and models to communicate our information. And along the way, we're refining the design and coordinating with key members of the design team, which are important for all of the design. So, for example, the client, the architect, building service engineer, quantity surveyor, and later stages, the contractor. So this is to produce a building. Structural forensics tends to look back, so on completed buildings or buildings that have been in use for many years. Generally, there's been a defect identified in some way, either concerns about a particular type of element or concerns during maintenance or risk assessment for the building, and that is then investigated. So conventional design generally looks forward and general forensics will look back. I mean, both would be very similar to structural engineering in terms of the technical skills required to carry out, but we have different methods depending on the type of work that we do.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And Jan, what skills does a structural forensic specialist need beyond the traditional engineering?
So normally forensic engineers brought in when something has gone wrong, and there's different things that could go wrong in a building. This could be a building's constructed, but there are some design errors or apparent design errors that mean that the building doesn't have the acceptable level of safety that's required by the design code. So the probability of there being a structural failure during the lifetime of the building is higher than it should be. A structural forensic engineer may be brought in to understand what that level of risk is, whether there are refinements in the way that those risks can be analysed to show that actually the structure has some reserve capacity, and if not, what mitigation actions are required. For example, even more detailed analysis, or in some cases, potentially strengthening the building, or if it's a really urgent situation, you might be discussing things like limiting the use of the building until the issue is rectified. So that's design errors. There may also be physical issues in the building, such as issues impacting the serviceability of the building. For example, finishes may be damaged due to excessive deformation of the structure, or there might be water ingress, chemical degradation of the structural materials, leaking roofs, subsidence issues, these kind of things. A forensic engineer would be involved in understanding the cause of the problem and the potential solutions to avoid the problem continuing. There's also the litigious aspect of forensics, where engineers may act as expert witnesses or expert advisors to lawyers or to the courts to help them understand complex evidence in relation to problems that have happened with building structures, and in particular in relation to any claims. Their insight into how a structure is designed and how it's behaved is invaluable to those kind of situations. In some extreme scenarios, there may even be a partial collapse of a building, although this is very rare. And a forensic engineer would come in to understand the causation of this event and how the building could be salvaged. And it also provides an opportunity to learn from our mistakes so that when future engineers are designing future buildings, those issues are not repeated.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jan. And Emily, we're coming on in a moment to talk about the Building Safety Act, but just while we're taking the broad view of structural forensics, what's your take of it from a legal perspective?
Well, often we are instructed by the insurance companies of businesses that are being threatened with litigation concerning something that's gone wrong or allegedly gone wrong with a building. And there's always lots of different parties who participate in the construction of a building, as the engineers on the call can tell you. And what we will often need specialist input on is to look at, well, what was the cause, as Jan has said, what was the cause, or what are the probable causes of something having gone wrong? Perhaps it's workmanship, perhaps it is something that has gone wrong with the maintenance of the building. And as Jan was saying, water ingress can eventually cause some issues. So these are things that a lawyer doesn't know about, but a lawyer would need to evidence in court to show that their client is innocent or someone else is guilty in a civil legal sense.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick dip into our last episode of Sandbox. Don't forget to subscribe to follow the show. You'll find Sandbox in all the usual places, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buro Happold's YouTube channel, and on the Buro Happold website. What's more, if you want to join the conversation on X, known as Twitter to its old friends, use the hashtag BHSandbox. We'd love to hear from you on any of the topics discussed.